The three words that I would use that I think best describe Wendy are amazing, brilliant, and absolutely hilarious.
Wendy is incredibly detail-oriented. I mean, and I say that from the point of view from somebody who is decidedly not.
I first met Wendy when I was a brand new lawyer, and I was arguing my very first motion for summary judgment in front of her. And it was one that I had written as a law clerk the summer before while I was studying for the bar, so you can imagine how young I was.
I first met her actually when we were both serving time at La Tuna. We were out kind of in the yard, and I've known her a lot longer than Carolyn has known her, but when I first met her, her last name wasn't York, it was Yanez.
She's amazing because Wendy is always looking out for everybody else's best interest. It's her sense of adventure, her always wanting the best for everybody, including herself, and her always giving back to the community.
She's married to Steve McHugh, of course, is the federal public defender, who is just wonderful. And what's interesting about it is that Steve and my wife Cynthia are very similar in terms of they're not as extroverted as Wendy and I have a tendency to be. So I think that I see in Steve the same thing I see in my wife, is they're both patient with us.
I got up there and I was against a very experienced older attorney, and I said my piece and I said, "Ay por Dios, please don't ask me anything." And she didn't. And I said, I got out, okay, I'm good, I'm golden.
So we were talking and she decided that when she got out, she wanted to be a lawyer. And we all thought that was a great idea. But we said, you can't be a lawyer with the last name of Yanez. So she changed it to York. Can you believe that? Well, what a sellout.
And I sat down and the other gentleman got up and did his response. And she asked me if I had a reply, and I thought, oh, okay, I got this. And I got up and I did my reply, and she asked me a question, of course, that I wasn't expecting, as brilliant as she is. And I didn't know the answer. And I sat there and I said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I said, Your Honor, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. And she said, it's okay, okay, you're all right. All right, okay, thank you. And I sat my behind down and I lost my motion. But she was so kind to me, and I will never ever forget that. And I've always known that I wanted to get to know her more.
I first met Wendy in person probably about 10 or 12 years ago. And I'd known about her for ages before that, but I didn't actually meet her until about 2001 or so, when I decided I wanted to be on the district court. And everybody said, the person you have to talk to is Wendy York. So I called her up, and she, being as gracious as Wendy always is, offered to meet me and have coffee at the Hyatt. So we got there and we sat down to have coffee, and I said to her, you know, I really want to be on the district court bench. And her first question to me was, why? It's a terrible job. This is not something you want to be doing. That was my first encounter with Wendy York.
I first met Wendy in the bar review class. I was from out of state, and I remember sitting in the very back row with all the other out of state recently graduated law students. And I remember looking around the room. There were, I'm going to guess, a couple hundred people. And I remember looking around the room and kind of evaluating who the leaders in the room were, which is an odd thing to do, but I do it. And it was very clear to me very quickly that people kind of gravitated towards Wendy. I mean, I remember exactly where she was sitting. I can remember feeling kind of the people in the room looked to her when there were questions, and she was kind of a natural leader. And I thought, boy, that's somebody I've got to get to know.
Actually, I admire her for a lot of reasons, one of which is her terrific sense of humor. But I think what I respect about her a lot was how she ran her courtroom when she was a judge. She was very good. She knew what everybody wanted.
I remember a time when I had a client, an older male client, who didn't think very highly of me or my work, and she had this unbelievable way of pumping me up in front of him in a way that made him feel good, and that made me look great and competent and able and successful, and she really turned him around. And that was something that I needed, and that's something that is Wendy York.
Well, I don't think there's any question that Wendy is one of the best legal minds in the state of New Mexico, and probably in the entire country. We always turn to her when we want answers to questions, legal questions. And I worked with her on the jury instruction committee, and we always gave the hardest cases to Wendy to work on because we knew that she would give us the right answer to everything.
No matter how hard I worked a case, the clients always wanted to talk to Wendy. She was the one that they were, oh, we love Wendy, and it didn't matter if I had done the hearing or Wendy was the person that clients always loved. But, you know, the thing that I really want to convey is that when it came to Wendy, that as both a lawyer and as a human being, that there are, in every generation of lawyers, there are a couple of lawyers, usually, that inspire other people. And I saw that practicing with her and as a friend, that she inspired, you know, the generation she was with and now the generation that follows. Because she wasn't just a good lawyer and good at her craft, she was just a good human being.
If I was on the selection committee, I would have chosen Wendy in a heartbeat, and for lots of reasons. One is just Wendy's work with lawyers, and all lawyers, and her interest in the law. She works with students at the law school. She works with young lawyers coming out of the law school. So her interest in the legal community has been huge. And I think if you talk to any number of people, they will tell you what a role model and a mentor she has been.
I admire Wendy most because she is a master communicator. And I've been in many mediations with her where she has brought down the toughest clients that I've brought in, the toughest opposing counsel, and brought us together really to form a resolution. And I think only the most gifted mediator can do that.
Her ability to laugh, I think, has a huge impact on the law. I think very often we as lawyers take ourselves far too seriously. Wendy takes the law very seriously, and she takes her work incredibly seriously. She's one of the hardest working lawyers I know. But her ability to laugh at herself and to laugh with other people is disarming, and actually is much more, she just gets further by having a sense of humor and by engaging other people. People listen to her in a very different way than somebody who's always just being lectured to.
The one thing that really bothered me though was she always overruled my objections. I mean, I hated that. And it got so bad she wouldn't even look at me. She'd take a tablet and put it up and go, overruled, sit down, but I don't want to see your face. And she'd do that, really.
Sorry, what was the question?
Wendy sometimes has a little bit of trouble being focused, okay? And you just want to say, because she gets wrapped up in what she's trying to do. These are just a few little examples. One time at the very old courthouse where the chambers went directly into the courtroom, Wendy was getting ready to go in for a big hearing that she was about to have. And she went to and got her robe, what we thought was her robe, to put on. And she buttoned up her winter coat and proceeded to march into the courtroom. And just didn't even think twice about it, but laughed at herself. She's been known on more than one occasion to wear different colored shoes to court, browns and blacks, blues and browns, all variety of clothes.
For people that know Wendy and the laugh that she has and the way she comes across, that she's empathetic, but it should not be confused with a lack of toughness, that Wendy is a tough lawyer.
Her ability to problem solve in a way where everyone feels that they've been treated fairly, that they've been heard. And I just think she's a wild woman, and she's been a huge supporter of me and my girlfriends and women generally. And I think that that's really, really important. And she's definitely a contributor who inspires other people to contribute.
She has ethical standards that are beyond reproach, and she served as an example for many of us who are out there doing the same type of work she's doing. And when she became a judge, she carried that on to the bench. She gives back to the community and has for many, many years. and she's just an outstanding individual.
Wendy's incredibly generous. She's got this hugely generous spirit. And it was near Christmas. It was actually a day or two before Christmas. And she decided it was awful that everybody had to work so hard on the day before Christmas. So she went to Dunkin' Donuts and bought boxes and boxes of donuts, not just for her staff, not just for her floor, but for the entire court staff. She gets to the court, she brings all of these boxes of donuts, carts them up to the courtroom, and it turns out that this was a declared holiday. Wendy had just bought all of these donuts and had no one to feed them to. That's the type of thing that she's known for. You just want to say, Wendy, focus a little bit.
Wendy is kind of in a category that I put in a very small group of people that lawyers say, boy, you know, I'd really like to be like her. And I think that's particularly true for the next generation of lawyers. That next generation can say, you know, I can be a good lawyer, but I can also be good in the community. I can be a good person. I can be somebody that people want to be around.
This past Christmas, you know, her sending out a few emails just to some friends saying, hey, I'm gonna put this food drive together to help a couple families. Maybe we could get some gifts. And it morphed into this incredible outpouring that started with one person. And that is a tribute to her and who she is.
I just describe her with one word, picosa. She's picosa. Oh, she's so hot. Everybody wants her.
That's obviously reflected in her reading material.
We'll get to that, I'm telling you.
You know, she's such a ferociously liberal person, but her book selection is really ultra conservative. I mean, we have our book club, just the three of us. And what we're reading lately is just so right wing, I don't even understand.
Did you read this for reals?
Honey, I'm on the third book.
Are you kidding me?
Wendy's has a very unique sense of style, shall we say. You know, most people go and they buy their clothes, I don't know, at Banana Republic or J. Crew or Saks or whatever. Not Wendy. Wendy actually got her entire and most recent wardrobe from someone who died. She now has a huge collection of Marjorie Bell Chambers clothes, all right? Now, Marjorie Bell Chambers was born in 1923, so we're not talking your mother's wardrobe. We're not talking your grandmother's wardrobe. Wendy has reinvented the style of the 50s and 60s, so take a look at what she's wearing tonight. It's very likely something that came out of 1940 or 1950.